Alright, hello, and welcome back to another episode of me playing Minecraft and testing different audio and video settings out. Let me turn my volume down a little bit. Those chickens are a little bit on the loud side for me, but they should be just fine for you. You may be able to see on my hotbar there, we got a little bit of a mess going on, because I went caving, found a couple monsters here and there, had to kill them. Went ahead and made myself some awesome boots. I got Feather Falling 4, Protection 3, which is just absolutely awesome. Still got a Protection 2, but our chest is almost gone, so I'm going to hopefully get up to 30 levels today and get a new chest. So let's go ahead and put things back where they're supposed to be. That's fine. Throw our shovel in between our axe, and there we go. Looks good, looks good. I went ahead and repaired this guy because that was almost gone after the last episode. Did find an abandoned mine shaft, which is where all of this came from. Killed ourselves an enderman. What I would like to do is eventually at some point, probably fairly far off, is go ahead and get ourselves an ender farm going. Yeah, let's start there. Completely missed. That was terrible. So clearly I need to practice with those guys a little bit. Alright, let's jump on up here. On par for today, I'm going to go ahead and start building the cobblestone walkways between our mini cylinders here. It's going to be the building goal for today. Do a little bit. Do I need to do harvesting? I guess not. I guess we don't have to. Get this little snack there. Alright, let's head on upstairs. And by upstairs, I mean middle level here. And start putting a couple things away. Any extra dirt laying around? No, but I'll take some because you never know when you're going to need it before you build. Let me see the stone. Have a little bit of wood to put away here. Do I want to keep this spruce? No, don't need it for now. Anything else in here? Don't think so. We got a bunch of drops to drop off. Drops to drop off. Anything in here? No. Consolidated all the quartz into their appropriate blocks because they're just starting to get full up in there. Go ahead and grab some cobblestone. Let's get the slabs, importantly, as well as these guys. Should be enough to at least get started. Do I have a chest for that? I don't think so. I guess I'm gonna put retired armor things in here, I guess, from drops. Protection 2, not great. Not terrible, but not great at the same time. I think I may have actually a couple of old pieces in here. I do, which I might as well just go ahead and throw over there. Still haven't found any horses or anything to use that saddle with. At some point I have to go on an adventure to find one. That'll probably be the next build, though, because the next build will... I guess I'll put this in here, too. The next build will be one where I move away from this location here, because I will be done from this area. Alright, lapis away. Last thing is just put the coal away and start smelting that 30 some odd iron I've got there. I did find, I think, twice that, but I put half of it in here already. So there we go. Take those guys out. 25 levels, very good. Hopefully with my feather falling I won't end up losing these levels today. But that is definitely something I've just got to keep in mind and be careful with. We do have a quote of the day, a joke of the day, and a question of the day. I hopefully have actually now made a fairly decent impact with the S sound that I was having issues with. The last one, I ended up taking that original video down after I'd posted it and played with the audio settings and posted a little bit more and then re-uploading, which took quite a bit longer than I really would have liked, but I do have a water bucket, so I can put the last bit of water in the final one. I was debating whether or not I was going to do that now, but I guess I might as well. Can't hurt things, I suppose. I feel like my mouse sensitivity is less sensitive than I'd like right now for some reason. But I can live with it. I don't think it's going to be an end of the world type of deal. Okay, so let's start building our cobblestone connectors here. And after that, I really am not sure where I'm going to go in terms of building. I definitely want to finish off the area up here. It's definitely not quite finished yet. It looks quite barren. I'll probably end up putting some sort of, I don't know, something up here to sort of tie everything together. What that is, I have absolutely no idea at this point. I do like to keep these builds sort of somewhat spontaneous, I guess I'll say. Okay, so let's go ahead and take these guys out. I think I'm getting a little bit better with not taking out 15 blocks at a time, which is nice. So I don't have to replace blocks every 2 seconds. So while we are doing this boring work, we shall start off with the joke of the day. The joke of the day, indeed. So today's joke of the day: there is a passenger airline, and it's full of passengers. It's a pretty full flight, and the flight attendant looks over into the aisle and gets on her little microphone and tells everybody, well, the pilots are on their way shortly, and we will be taking off very soon. So everybody, please get ready to do so. Just waiting for the pilots here to enter the cabin. So everybody's, looking around, just talking normally, no big deal. Somebody spots the pilots coming up, and they appear to have service dogs, and they have sunglasses on, and they almost appear to be blind, which it's kind of funny. Everybody thinks they're just joking around. Clearly we can't have blind pilots here. So they're sort of uneasy about it, but they think, come on, haha, very funny. Maybe this is the pilot's last flight, and they're pulling some sort of gag. Who knows? So after the pilots get in and get situated into the cockpit, good thing I didn't bring any extra sandstone. Good thing I've got some, because that would have annoyed me otherwise. So pilots get in, and everybody's sort of laughing and joking around. And the pilots then taxi normally, so everybody still thinks, okay, they taxi over to the runway normally, and they think, okay, clearly it's just a joke or whatever. And they spool up the engines, and they start running down towards the end of the runway. And they get closer and closer to the end of the runway, and the people are starting to get a little bit nervous. They're going, well, I hope we take off. I hope we're going to take off here. We're going to take off here now, right? We better take off now pretty soon. And they reach almost the end, and everybody just starts screaming, and the plane pulls up, and there's again just a bunch of nervous laughter, and they think, oh gosh, these guys are just so funny playing a joke on us here. Cut to the pilots. The co-pilot turns to the pilot and says, one of these days, they're not going to scream at the right time. So sort of implying that they are, in fact, blind. So I like that. I like that joke. I thought it was pretty funny. In light of recent events, there's been actually quite a bit of aviation, recent events. There was a crash at, I believe it was San Francisco airport, where they had a South Korean plane, I believe, crash. Unfortunately, did, I believe, result in a couple of fatalities as well as other injuries, but there was also recently a Southwest flight. I don't quite remember the airport. There was a Southwest flight where there were the front landing gear failed, and basically the front of the plane ground all the way to the end, or to where their final resting point was. There was somebody who actually did a cell phone video, and it was quite a interesting thing to watch. You think about those sort of situations, you never think, it'll never happen to me, and of course these people are thinking the exact same things, and they hit the ground, and then there's just this loud just crunching and scratching noise basically, and people are trying to freak out and jump up and stuff like that, and the flight attendants are saying, stay in your seat, stay calm. We need to come to a complete stop. You can't just jump out of an airplane while it's still moving, and then once it stops, we need to spool down the engines, because if you jump out, you'll turn into, well, a bird strike. And people were just sort of ignoring the flight attendants, which is sort of interesting, because you would think that a flight attendant would have more experience in a situation like that, or would have better training for that. And so for people to just blatantly sort of disrespect and disregard their sort of authority was sort of interesting, I thought, and not really a good thing at all. These people are trained to, be, what's the word I'm looking for? Effective in emergency type situations. And I'm not. Oh, I am. This is an up slab. Okay. They're trained for emergency situations and emergency response. And so people were just, instantly yelling no and trying to run up and jump out of the plane. But the thing was, the plane was perfectly fine. There was no real fire that occurred or anything like that. The passengers were fine. They were able to unload and everything. But what I think the casual passenger doesn't understand are one, the plane needs to stop moving before you jump out of it. Feather falling boots. You can't just jump out of a plane while it's still moving and expect that you're going to be perfectly fine. It would maybe be a different situation if the plane is on fire or something like that. But there was no reported fire. I don't even think there was really a reasonable amount of smoke in the cabin to alert. Excuse me, I'll adjust my chair here. So, yeah, I thought that was sort of an interesting thing in how people just think that they know better. Yeah, I don't know. So if you're ever in that situation, listen to your flight attendants. They've been trained on this. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're supposed to be doing. So, I guess that's the sort of reason we chose the joke of the day here, was somewhat related to reality. Alright, so let's continue on. I probably should have made more slabs while I was down there. I should have enough to at least complete this one. I think, like I said last time, I want to make these guys a little bit bigger. Make them like a 4. If I do that, it's not necessarily going to be centered, is the biggest problem, and I don't want to do a giant 3 square, because I think that would be a little bit too big. Maybe not, we'll see. I may end up trying to just test that out in creative first before doing it in this world here. And for those of you who may be curious how I do that, it's very simple. You just go into your system files, you duplicate. I think you can actually duplicate it even just within the Minecraft interface on the front page. I believe you can hit recreate. I believe that's the button that you can hit, and it will duplicate the world. You can do it that way, or you can just jump into your system files, find it, and just hit duplicate. Fairly simple process, and then you just make that a creative world as opposed to a survival world, and then you get to fly around and do all that fun stuff. Because I haven't actually done any work in the creative world since quite a while, since I think before I even completed the stairs on the side. Because of that reason, I'll probably end up just duplicating this current world. I also did a system sweep with my computer, so I basically just erased everything and reinstalled everything, and so that did the same thing with Minecraft, so I had to make sure to save this world first before doing that. And I didn't save the creative world I had, so I believe that's probably gone. Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay. There's a reason I started right here. To check on things like that. Make sure I am placing the blocks at proper heights. Okay, so let's move on now. How about to the quote of the day? So today, the quote of the day comes from Michael Jordan, the basketball player. And I believe it's on par with sort of a lot of the quotes that I've been having recently. They just sort of have been things I've been interested in talking about, or potential discussion points that I think, I guess, relate to whatever's going on in my world right now. Hopefully they are applicable to your world as well. So, Michael Jordan. If you accept expectations of others, especially negative ones, then you will never change the outcome. And I believe if you have watched any of the previous ones, you can almost immediately see why this relates to a lot of the other questions or a lot of the other quotes I've been talking about recently. Just in sort of you can't let other people dictate how you live your life, I guess, in some ways. There are limits to that, of course. I'm of the mindset that you have the freedom.
It's 1 o'clock.
Thank you, other computer. I've got my other computer open here with the notepad, and it still does indeed announce the time, and it is indeed 1 o'clock once again, so thank you very much for that. Like I was saying, you shouldn't allow other people to dictate how you live your life. That should be up to you within certain limits. Again, I believe in conforming to a lot of social standards, not all, but a lot of social standards, especially in terms of things like killing or other big things like that. There are, of course, a lot of social standards and social laws that I completely disagree with, just on principle, just because I think they are either extraneous or just absolutely ridiculous in nature. But for the most part, in terms of your social life, your professional life, all that kind of stuff, that's completely up to you and what you want to do and where you want to go in your life. And I don't think that anybody else should have that authority over you or have any expectations of you in terms of that, in terms of what you want to do, where you want to go, that sort of thing. And so, with that being said, like I said, I think it was in, I don't know, the third or fourth one, where it was sort of talking about the negative, viewing yourself in another, or comparing yourself rather, from another person's point of view or perspective. I think that again is this quote here where you'll never change the outcome, especially if it's a negative ones, if you accept their expectations of you. In certain ways, of course, it's good to try to live up to people's expectations of you that can make you into a better person in certain ways, but at the end of the day, you should only be responsible for yourself, really, and whatever those actions or thoughts or choices or whatever they may be, whatever those are you're truly only responsible for yourself at the end of the day. Again, with certain standards, social norms and whatnot, and standards being the exception to that rule. But don't let other people dictate your life, your choices, what you want to do. Basically is my sort of thought process there. And so I thought that was a really cool quote, and it can be applied to pretty much anything. I mean, you can apply that to academic world, you can apply that to sports, you can apply that to almost anything, really. That's why I thought it was a cool quote as well. It's just because of how widely applicable it is to almost every facet of life. Alright, so we are just breezing through the show. I think I'm going to hold off a little bit on our question of the day until we can get at least some of this rest of the wall here built, because that is what is on par or on tap for today in terms of what I want to finish. So we've got about half of them done. So let's continue on with our slab placement job. I am quite sore. Speaking of job, I am quite sore for my job still. My back is definitely not used to having to lift and move literally a ton of rocks. Luckily, I was able to take Thursday off because I had my exam, and the school where I'm working is actually closed on Fridays during the summer because we try to save money that way. So I didn't have to worry about having to do any heavy lifting yesterday on Friday. Today is Saturday. So I've got today to rest, tomorrow to rest, and then back to it on Monday. Luckily, I don't have a ton to do in terms of my... Let's see, is that the center? I want to say this is going to be the center. I don't have a ton of work to do in terms of school. We just had that exam, as I had talked about in the previous episode, and we teachers giving us a little break here because I think even the professor knows that it was a ton of material. It's interesting because this is a 10-week course over the summer, and normally it's a 16-17-week course depending on the semester. And the professor was saying that she taught it a year ago, last summer, in 5 weeks. So taking it in half of what it was this time around. And to me, that is just absolutely crazy. I have no idea how anybody could survive that. I think I mentioned last time that the exam had 250 PowerPoint slides worth of material on it. And so if this was a even shorter class, I have no idea how anybody would be able to survive that. She was saying that she was giving exams pretty much every week, and we've had them about once a month now. She, I guess normally during the course of a regular semester, has 4 exams and a final. During this course, she said that it's going to be 3 exams and a final, and the lowest score is counts as the least, the smallest exam, I guess I'll say, in terms of a weighted percentage. So continue placing here. It's interesting, I was looking down and you can't see the cows or the chickens in there. I guess that's what, an entity spawning thing, that because I'm so many blocks above them, they are not rendered in. I guess it's for lag reasons. What are we getting in terms of frames right now? I'm only getting 30 frames right now, really? That's probably because I'm recording. I am recording again at 60 frames, and I've also got the audio recorded at the highest settings that I can do with Camtasia here, so that's probably why I'm getting 30 frames. Okay, let's run down, take a nap. I want to check my video settings real quick. Yeah, max frames. Got everything else maxed, though. Recording at 720p, which is the normal, I'll call it. I wonder if I could make it. Nope, definitely not. I do like these feather falling boots. I think this is really going to save me in the long run here, in terms of deaths and whatnot. Mostly in such, though. In such and whatnot. Okay. Head back on up here. Got our 3rd one almost done. Leaves 2 more. Probably end up doing one of them off camera here, just because it is the same thing over and over again, and I do want to save. That sounds loud. It could just be me. I'll see in post. Hopefully not. I can always boost in post if it's too quiet. But yeah, this is pretty monotonous process because it's just the same thing over and over again, and want to be able to provide commentary. I guess I could do an off-the-cuff science news. I was reading the bee issue that we're having in terms of the mass extinction, or not extinction, but loss of bees. The study basically looked at East Coast bees, but we're having the same issue on the West Coast and in the middle of the country as well. And they took these bees who had pollinated, and they found that they were a lot less resistant to a certain parasite. I don't remember the name, obviously a Latin name, but the colony itself became a lot less resistant to certain parasites that are obviously detrimental to the hive as a whole. So obviously that's not good, and we're out. Well, I can do those slabs. Mostly because I don't want to have to run downstairs again on camera here and have to bother with all of that. But 1 shy on this side, huh? Can you recombine should be able to do that. You should be able to recombine them in your crafting area there. That would just make so much more sense to me. Okay, so I'm gonna run down, grab some more of the cobblestone here to finish that off, and I will do that last one, I guess, back on camera, and we'll go over the question of the day, which I think is a pretty good one. So yes, I will cut from here to the nearly completed bridge here. So went ahead and finished off that guy there with the cobblestone that need to be there. Went ahead and slabbed this guy on out. So now that's all that is remaining, is to put on these sort of side guardrail things here. And move on to the question of the day. I like this one. Question is, would you break the law for a loved one? Now this is a very multifaceted sort of question. There's definitely a lot of different areas or different ways that this question could be shaped to, I guess I'll say. So, this could be sort of turned into a would you rather type of a situation. So let's start with, would I break the law in terms of something very petty, broken law like speeding or a parking ticket or things like that? And the answer would probably be yes, especially if that loved one was in some sort of danger, whether it be health-wise or emotionally or whatever that is. Another way that question could be sort of asked would be, would you break the law as in kill somebody to save your loved one? And that one is a lot harder of a question to try to answer. I am honestly unsure. I don't know. Is the other person that I'm going to kill a bad person? Do they have family and loved ones who love them as well? That, a lot of other things would have to factor into that sort of question to get a good answer. To have something that would be answerable in that sort of context. So I think it's a good question because it can be sort of changed or rephrased to mean a million different things. Sure, I'd break a petty law to help a loved one out, whether that be a friend or family or whatever. Would I, kill somebody for a friend? Probably not. I'm more of a pacifist. I'm definitely not an aggressive person in any way, shape, or form. So I probably would not. Would I kill one person to save 15 loved ones? Again, that'd be a very, very difficult question to try to answer and have some sort of solution for. So that's sort of why I like this question. It's just so very open-ended. That's what I was looking for. It's just such a very open-ended question that would be very difficult to answer in a lot of different circumstances and situations. So I pose that question to you, and to urge you to think about it, and what ways would it be okay for you to break the law for a loved one? What ways would it not be okay? It's a very, very personal question. And I guess that sort of segues to something I'm definitely going to bring up at the beginning of next time. I haven't really mentioned it before, but that's definitely something I'm gonna change and maybe end up prefacing from now on. These questions and quotes and whatnot are here to sort of invoke a response from me to give better content than just sort of, okay, placing a block, placing a block, placing a block, placing a block. It's meant to just create talking points and create things that can be talked about. And the best sort of things tend to be controversial or tend to be, things where an opinion has to be given. And what I want to preface this whole sort of situation, or this whole quote of the day, question of the day, and all that kind of stuff, is that obviously my answers are my answers, and they're very personal, and I urge you to have your own and your own independent thought and your own viewpoints on everything. Don't, just because one person has that opinion, think about it. Think about why they have that opinion. Think about where their opinions are coming from, where they're forming them from. They're generally, people form their opinions from their life experiences that they have. So before jumping to any conclusions, or thinking, oh well, that's a stupid opinion, or a stupid thing to think about or to talk about, whatever. Well, of course, everybody's gonna have a different opinion. I have an opinion. You're gonna have an opinion. All that kind of thing. And people's opinions are obviously going to change over time as well. They're not going to necessarily be a constant thing. So I think before going into these segments in the next shows, I'm just going to preface things by saying my opinion's my opinion, your opinion is your opinion. Everybody's got different opinions, and discussion, of course, of opinions is always welcome, but never rush to judgment about somebody or their opinion just because your opinion is different, or even if it's the same. It could be the same opinion, and you feel that they're whatever for having that opinion. So I think I'm gonna preface from now on things of that nature. Let's take a look here at our cylinder progress. I'm definitely gonna have to accent this with excuse me, a little congested here, with some sort of probably the dark wood again. Maybe I'll go with a different. Maybe I'll go with the birch wood. I don't know, the really light wood. I think that could be cool. Might be a little bit matchy to the sandstone, but may end up sort of being a nice contrasting color to the really dark spruce wood there. And I think I may end up doing another, maybe doing larger cylinders. That could be really cool. So these are 11. Maybe doing 23 in diameter or something like that. That could be really cool. So having just really large cylinders here, and then having the smaller ones here, and maybe these really large ones here will be the ones that have the 4 water coming down from it. I think that could be cool. I'll probably end up working that out in creative a little bit. So you see here I've got 25 levels. I'd like to use that probably on a new chest since this one's almost gone. I do need a helmet as well, so I'll probably end up making those two things, enchanting one of them, because I don't think I'll have the energy to go and either try to mine that or go to the nether and try to get quartz, because my quartz is steadily running out, and by steadily I mean fairly quickly. So I think that is going to do it for this episode. Sitting around the 33-minute mark here. Just going to head on up, call it a day. And yeah, I think some nice progress was definitely made here. I'm definitely liking how the round part of it fell down from all the way at the top, fell down to here. Survived. Thank you, Feather Falling, for diamond boots. But I definitely like how this angular shape really contrasts all of the different angles that are portrayed throughout the rest of the build. I definitely like sort of the verticality. I don't know if that's a word, but I need to get rid of that dirt. The sort of, when you look up and you can just see the different layers and dimensions of this build. I'm definitely really a fan of that. So it is becoming nighttime. I'm going to take a rest, probably do some more work off camera here, but till next time, I will see you next time.